Today we've got casting crashes, burns, and conspiracies. Oh my. Is it sabotage? Is it just bad luck? Let's find out.
Listen up, it's jazz.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Hot Chai Pod, a podcast where we spill all of that sizzling Bollywood tea. I'm your host, Jazz, and we have some serious and some silly stuff on the docket. And I should mention that I am safe in Los Angeles, barely with all the fires around, but to keep the city in your prayers as we do fight all of these huge wildfires. Today's episode is heavy on the casting drama and conspiracies, and I'm not mad about it. But before we jump in, shout out to the Teacup who corrected me on last week's episode. I had said that Rajkumar Rao had 3 movie releases in 2024, and he actually had 4, including the movie Shrikant. And to be honest, it's not a great sign that I couldn't remember. And it's possibly why Kartik won Hero of the Year with you guys. We're kicking off with probably the hottest drama or scandal, which is that Triptii Dimri is officially out of Anurag Basu's Aashiqui 3 with Kartik Aaryan. So about 2 months ago, there were reports, and we did discuss this here, that Tripti was being replaced by Sharvari. At the time, Tripti and Kartik had already started filming or done some test shots for this movie, and then these reports started to come out. And then someone close to Tripti's camp set the record straight and said that those were lies and she was still very much in the film and that, this was actually Sharvari's PR trying to do a sabotage with her. So that was that. But then fast forward to this week, it looks like maybe those rumors were at least partially true because it's not confirmed whether Sharvari is replacing Tripti in the film, but it is looking like Tripti is no longer in the movie. And there have been no statements, like no official statements from Tripti or the film team. So we're kind of left to wonder, if she left on her own volition or if she was ousted from the movie. And of course, there are conspiracies and there are signs. The weirdest reason that I saw being spread by different news outlets, lots of different outlets, is that the film needs an actress with more purity. And that Tripti is now somehow like sleazy and slutty after her role in Animal. I even begin with this like disgusting angle. But first of all, this film was signed after Animal, so how does that work? And second, for the people agreeing that Tripti is some like sleazy actress, I hope that you think the same thing of Ranbir Kapoor, who was in the sexy scenes with her in Animal. Past that kind of surface level explanation, or rather hit job, I should say. The big question mark is who will be taking her role. To me, that will shed light on what happened here because some people think that there is like an insider pressure to reduce Tripti's stardom or, stop her momentum, and that powerful people or Nepo stars are trying to like snatch her roles. And as we discussed last week, that is not outside the realm of possibility, unfortunately, in this industry. So depending on who replaces her in the movie, it will probably add fuel to the fire if it is an insider. The other theory that I'm seeing a lot is that Kartik and Tripti were having issues or something. And I really wasn't sure what to make of this because there were whispers during Bulbulaya 3, during the film promotions, that Tripti really wasn't front and center. And someone on Reddit pointed out that Kartik and Tripti haven't really been liking each other's Instagram posts. Who knows about that? Usually people would jump to saying like they must have been romantically involved and it didn't work out. But I don't know that it's so simple because Tripti has been pretty public with her boyfriend Sam Merchant, who, by the way, hello, very cute. But I digress. I'm again not sure about the Kartik, romance theory because they did do some promotions together, and then they even did a podcast. However, there was one podcast that Tripti did where she was discussing kind of like heroes on set, like she was being asked about it, and she said something like, I'm not going to go there, and she like laughed or something, like she like zipped her lips. So you kind of wonder like, oh, who was that about? And she has had praise for her other co-stars like Rajkumar Rao and Avinash Tiwari. But is Kartik really that powerful that he would be able to replace her in the movie with producers? I don't know. It's unclear. Option number 3 is that after filming kind of started, they did those test shots. the filmmakers maybe decided that Kartik and Tripti had no chemistry, and because it's supposed to be this like passionate love story and they are filling big shoes with Shraddha and Aditya Roy Kapoor. Okay, let's just say that. Maybe that is the case because I highly doubt that Tripti would just walk out from a huge project like this. You know, she's too new, she is an outsider, and she can't really be throwing away opportunities unless something drastic had changed with like the script or nudity or some, who knows, right? Let's see how the mystery starts to kind of shape up over the next couple weeks, if it even does, because I was reading reports that the film is indefinitely postponed. Kartik Aaryan has also really made up with Karan Johar after their whole Dostana 2 debacle because he signed to a film, I think, last year with Dharma, but it seems like it's shaping up now. And it's a whole tongue twister of a title, which is Tu Meri Me Tera Tu Meri. Why? Just no. This was not necessary. And you guys know that my bad Hindi accent can only take so much of this trend. But regardless, this is slated to release Christmas 2026. Kartik put out some notes about the film, which maybe explains the title, and that it's supposed to be having to do with his character has like 3 bad breakups, and then he's promising on his mother's life, I think, that the 4th will not end up the same way. It's giving a little Bachna e Hasino. It's a little bit like that, but who knows? Of course, everyone's PR is putting themselves out there immediately as like the heroine contender, but the main 2 names that we're seeing online are Ananya Pandey and Sharvari. If anyone remembers, Kartik and Ananya did act together in that movie Pati Patni Arvo, where she played his side chick. So I did a poll on the Hot Chai Instagram, and you guys voted 80% in favor of Sharvari acting with Kartik versus only 20% for Ananya Pandey. So maybe that's where the tide will turn for producers, if anyone's watching. The big debut that's been buzzing is for Rasha Thadani, who is debuting in the movie Azaad, which stars Ajay Devgan and his nephew Aman Devgan. And Rasha is the daughter of Ravina Tandon and Amit Thadani, who is a film distributor, aka we've got more connections and we've got some money. Which, speaking of money, quick fun fact about Ravina Tandon's wedding. Apparently they got married at the Jug Mandir Palace in Udaipur, and Ravina sat in a 100-year-old dolly that had previously carried the Princess of Mewar. Okay, so that's how we know they got some money. But back to the topic at hand, Rasha is debuting, and a lot of people are discussing this good and bad because we got a couple songs as part of the promotions, including Uyamma, which is Rasha's dance track, aka some would say item song, and it really did catch my eye because it's not a typical Nepo debut. Like the style and the choreography, it does give off like an item song vibe. But is this a bad thing? More on that in a minute. And are people really that excited about this? Well, it was seeming like a lot of bot activity online. I'm just going to say it. There were already like Russia fan accounts, which give me a break. And then the same telltale kind of like similar repetitive comments on every post saying, you know, she looks like a young Katrina Kaif, which have you guys forgotten what young Katrina Kaif looked like? Just saying. I need to say that. And the second most common comment is that she's a spitting image of her mother, which I actually don't think she is. So maybe that's what started to throw me off, and maybe you guys will disagree and are seeing something that I can't. It's my opinion! But on the other hand, there were real comments too, both good and bad, which is what happens when you do these types of overactive PR campaigns, as we discussed last week. Was backlash, or people noticing how much the movie promotion, is only about her, for instance. And that's not to say it was all bad, because the good commentary was saying that, at least it looks like she can dance and she has these good facial expressions for the song. And I agree that it is kind of a standout. Like a lot of the current star kids aren't really great at the whole dancing and expressions. I mean, have we forgotten the dancing and the Archies? Some people felt that Rasha debuting with this item song was like very inappropriate and overly sexual, and that she was too young for it at 19 years old. Now, like I said, I was a little surprised, but you guys, Alia Bhatt, she got to wear a bikini in Student of the Year, her first movie, so it's not like entirely crazy to kind of have a more sexy debut. And also, we have to wonder like if we're kind of infantilizing her a little bit. She is 19, it is young, no doubt, but she is an adult and she's obviously very happy to make this choice, because if she didn't want to do this, she has her parents to advocate for her with their power and their connections in the industry, right? So the comments that they should be protecting her more and, taking her away from this sort of thing kind of feel elitist and gross to me. And I will tell you why. Because these comments are implying that it would be more appropriate for an outsider to be in this role or have to do these songs because they have no other choice. Also, the video and the choreography are not that sleazy, in my opinion. She's dancing for Aman Devgan, not Ajay Devgan, which I think does make a difference on the creepiness scale. And we can have a much longer conversation about, item songs and the male gaze and objectifying women. But honestly, wearing a hot outfit and dancing in front of a bunch of people isn't so different from what a lot of young adults choose to do without getting paid. So, and hey, some people would say that bad publicity is still good publicity, so it might be working. I did put up a poll asking you guys whether you were excited for Aman Devgan and Rasha Thadani's debut, and 62% of you said that there was no reason to be. So let's see how that changes when the film comes out on January 17th. Maybe it'll surprise us. I actually have another movie randomly coming to theaters in January. On January 31st is Shahid Kapoor's release, Deva. I say randomly because it did kind of catch me by surprise. I think maybe I forgot about this. So based on the trailer and an interview that I saw, it seems like it's about a very tough cop that Shahid is playing. It looks a little inspired by old school Amitabh Bachchan, Angry Young Man. Similar kind of vibe meets Kabir Singh, but maybe that's just Shahid's kind of look for these types of rugged characters. And I heard that there are dance numbers, so dance numbers, Shahid Kapoor, sign me up. Hopefully it is playing in theaters near me. I'm not sure yet. And then I would be able to do a no spoiler review for the Teacups. And finally, for a movie that I'm not so sure that I'm excited about, it's called Meri Husband Ki Bivi, starring Arjun Kapoor, Bhumi Pednekar, and Rakul Preet. See, I could be excited. I do like the actresses, but I don't know. Am I excited to see Arjun Kapoor? I'm a little lukewarm, shall we say. But I'll give it a shot, and that will be in theaters in February. Now, for Teacup Time, it's been a little while, but I do have a rant. Well, maybe not so long because every week kind of is a rant. We talked a little bit about wedding season in India, and I too recently went to a wedding. And to be honest, my Instagram feed is kind of blowing up with people's Indian weddings, and I have a few observations, shall we say. First of all, the Toba Toba performances, how do I say this nicely, but I think they need to stop. And look, have I been practicing the hook step since the song came out? Yes. Am I an expert at it by now? The answer is no. So for these groomsmen who have a couple, last minute hours to practice, or they're practicing in the bathroom as they're getting ready, or hey, maybe some of them really were practicing, but I'm not seeing the results. The performances are sloppy. Okay, it looks more like an Irish jig for some of these people when they're trying to move their leg in the right way, It's not looking like whatever Vicky Kaushal was doing. So let's stop forcing our wedding guests to sit through this kind of torture, or at least modify the dance. Do a different step. We won't judge. Okay, maybe just a little bit. My second complaint may come as a surprise because I love a Bollywood moment, right? But I'm also a hater. When Sid Malhotra and Kiara Advani got married, we all remember their famous entrance or first look from their wedding video where she's like trying to reel him in and he's pretending to get like hooked and pulled, and okay, that was cute when they did it. But now other people are trying to recreate this, and you know who you are. Let's just try to be a little bit more creative. Maybe someone could pretend to be like shooting like a bow and arrow and the guy gets caught, or maybe you get a bunch of people to cover him with a ransack and pretend it's a kidnapping. Just kidding, mostly. But you catch my drift. And it's not just the replication that bothers me. It's that during so many of these grand entrances, because this is an even bigger pet peeve of mine, which is that the timing of the music is off. Someone will play like a clip of a song and then bam, it's abruptly cut off with no transition, just music and then silence. Or they start the music too late, so it's not synced up. And you guys just add a little fade, it won't kill you. build it into the playlist if you have to. Maybe this one is just a me thing. For my last complaint, and maybe it's not so much as a complaint, so much as a question for you, the teacups. And it's a question of grave importance, actually. So let's come together. Let's take this very seriously for a minute, because are we over the pastel bridal looks? You know, the pastel brides with the natural kind of no makeup looks. I'm very serious because as a Libra moon, I'm taking this seriously, but I also cannot decide whether I really love it still or if I'm kind of over it. Because for me, I love pastels and I love wearing neutral makeup, and like that is my common look. So I was very excited when this trend came out because I was like, yes, you know, there's something for me. I'm going to do this.
We used to go out at night. He's like, wipe that off. Wipe that off, because he loves the natural.
But now I'm starting to miss the bold looks again. And no, I'm not saying that there haven't been any traditional brides. Of course, I have seen them. And maybe it's, you know, more of a popular thing with like urban or NRI or the ABCD crowds that I know to do these types of Bollywood trends. But do we want the lighter looks, or do we kind of miss the classic red and like the major desi makeup, you know, to have a comeback to surface? Because let's face it, when else do you have an opportunity to pull that off? Let me know in the comments what you guys think, because I'm genuinely very curious, you know, where people are landing with this now. We've all made our way through wedding season. It's not over yet. And I'm sure we all have a complaint or two. And with that, teacups, I'm done ranting. If you enjoyed this episode, please press like below and feel free to share with all your friends. And until next week, bye.
Listen up, it's jazz.